honor and glory going to Shai, Bashim Krakodash, double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone. Salutations to all you occupants out there pushing this truth with all honesty and sincerity, by way of the highways and byways, going out in the streets teaching and preaching, also by way of the internet. Shalom to you, very few Aqua, very few sisters that's out there listening and learning. It's your brother Nayap, and I'm back with another news update. It's kind of like 2 in 1 day, but the day has already passed. So this is a late night one, and I'll probably have another one in the morning. The video started to stack up, so I was like, I might as well start to play them. So the last video where we left off at on my news segment was the dancing boys from Afghanistan. Y'all know, they sodomize young boys. They do things. All right. So we left off with that. So I'm thinking, let me scroll down. So the last video is this 1 minute and 43 second video. So I think I'm gonna go from there. And so this is for fair use. This is not for any type of monetary gain or anything like that. It's for educational purposes only.
I've seen, I think, probably a dozen now seriously injured young boys who have been shot in the abdomen or the chest. One of them, a 12-year-old, died on the operating table because the injuries were so severe. And they're all from gunshot wounds. And they all described to me, and their families described to me, and indeed colleagues of mine, Gaza medical colleagues who are looking for food as well, have gone to these same distribution sites and witnessed these injuries as well. They're all describing that they're being shot by Israeli soldiers or by the quadcopters. We're all seeing a very clear pattern of injuries. I've seen the abdominal injuries, but my colleagues in the emergency room describe a very clear pattern where on particular days they'll see different body parts targeted. So on one day they'll all be abdominal gunshot wounds, on another day they'll all be head gunshot wounds or neck gunshot wounds, on another day there'll be arm or leg gunshot wounds. And on last Saturday there were 4 young teenage boys all brought in very, very rapidly in succession with gunshot wounds to their testicles. So they're clearly being targeted to their testicles, and this is a pattern that we're seeing every day, that these young teenage boys are systematically being targeted, and it's almost as if a game is being played, that they're deciding to shoot the head today and the neck tomorrow and the testicles the day after.
President Trump has filed a $10 billion defamation lawsuit against the Wall Street Journal, Rupert Murdoch, and others over Thursday's report about the president's alleged birthday message that he sent to Jeffrey Epstein in 2003. In the lawsuit, President Trump alleges that the journal falsely claimed that he authored, drew, and signed a letter to Epstein containing salacious language within a hand-drawn, naked woman, which was created with a heavy marker, and that no authentic letter or drawing exists. In response to the lawsuit, Dow Jones, the parent company of the Wall Street Journal, saying in a statement they have full confidence in the rigor and accuracy of our reporting and will vigorously defend against any lawsuit. ABC News has not confirmed the existence of the letter. Meanwhile, President Trump made clear on social media that he asked the Justice Department to release all grand jury testimony related to convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein, pending court approval. The Justice Department has officially asked the President Trump has filed a $10 billion.
I said, so what I did wrong? Yeah. He said, well, for one, your headlights are off under this weather. I'm like, oh yeah. There's multiple people headlights off, first of all.
All right, so this is today. All right, everything from here on forward is basically today.
And there's no rain.
It doesn't matter. You're still required to have headlights on.
Can you pull that law up?
Huh?
Can you pull that law up?
Yeah, when you step out of the car, I will.
Can you call your supervisor?
Huh?
Can you call your supervisor?
All right, go for it.
Exit the vehicle now. Exit the vehicle. Show me your hands.
Here.
I'm here. What is your reason, sir?
Step out.
What is your reason?
Step out now.
All right.
No.
Oh, no.
Stop fighting!
Now, I do want to say something about this. You know, a lot of people was outraged and stuff like that. But the only thing I'm gonna say about this man is that we told you, man, this man is the devil. You know, and I guess they said that the further information they had came out about this video, which came out later on today, was about, I guess he took up to 21 seconds. I guess he was out of order for 21 seconds or something like that. He wasn't trying to give over the ID, or I don't know what happened. All right. I just knew this was over a tail light in the daytime. All right. So they trying to say that basically the officers was in the right. And the only thing I want to say about this is that, you know, hey man, when you get pulled over, just get them niggas your ID, bro. Don't do no extra shit. You know, plus you down there in Mississippi, bro. You know what they doing to Jake. You know, you gotta be wise, man. But, you know, rather if you be wise or not, you know, things like that can happen. But it is what it is. I'm just gonna leave it at that, yo.
What in the motherless is going on now with these airplanes? You had one of them break right and barrel roll all over your mother's back and neck to try to avoid a B-52 bomber. Yes, I said it, a B-52 bomber. How the fuck does this happen from Minneapolis to Minoit on your mother's ears? Nobody should have to get in an airplane and worry about hitting or crashing into anything, period. We should have the best technology. We should have all the fucking inspections in the world. But instead, they got us traveling around like some desperate fucking gypsies. I don't understand. We're the richest people in the fucking world, and we're traveling like some desperate fucking hoes. What in the motherless is going on?
This is a joint statement calling on the Israeli government to immediately lift restrictions on the flow of aid and to end the war in Gaza. Israeli government's aid delivery model is dangerous, it says. It fuels instability and deprives Gazans of human dignity. We condemn the drip feeding of aid and the inhumane killing of civilians, including children, seeking to meet their most basic needs of water and food. And it also goes on to say, we strongly oppose any steps towards territorial or demographic change in the occupied Palestinian territories.
Sanctuary cities are sanctuaries for criminals. Hard stop. I've been doing this since 1984.
Y'all know how much I dislike this man.
I've never seen a situation where I see it today. New York City, how many times do you want to see NYPD attacked by illegal alien criminals in the city? Now a federal officer. How many citizens in this city have been attacked by illegal aliens in this city? You see the polls. Everybody agrees we should be arresting public safety threat illegal aliens, but you got a city council here that locked us out of Rikers Island. Are you kidding me? So an illegal alien in Rikers Island we can't talk to, we don't have access to. That makes the city unsafe. Every sanctuary city is unsafe. I'll say it again, sanctuary cities are sanctuaries for criminals. And I'm going to work very hard with Secretary Noem to keep President Trump's promise and his commitment several weeks ago that sanctuary cities are now our priority. We're going to flood the zone. You don't want to let us into jail to arrest a bad guy in the safety and security of a jail. You want to release him into the street, which makes it unsafe for the community, makes it unsafe for the officer, makes it unsafe for the alien. Because anything can happen on a street arrest. So what we're going to do, we'll have more agents in New York City to look for that bad guy. So sanctuary cities get exactly what they don't want, more agents in the community and more agents in the work site. If we can't arrest a bad guy in the safety and security of a county jail, then we'll arrest him in the community and we'll arrest him in the jail. And when we arrest him in the community, if he's with others that are in the country illegally, they're coming too. Sanctuary cities are sanctuaries for criminals. President Trump is not going to tolerate it. And I'll work every day with Secretary Noem to make sure we get as many bad guys, illegal aliens out of this country that we can.
XRP just passed McDonald's in market cap, making it more valuable than the world's largest restaurant chain. You can see right here, XRP just flipped McDonald's at a $214.19 billion market cap. XRP is up to $3.64 today. XRP's all-time high is $3.84. Now, I don't know about today, but I definitely believe this week XRP is going to smash through that all-time high, and we're going to reach $4 this week. What do you guys think? Let me know. Will we see a new all-time high for XRP this week?
Another apparent close call in the sky, this time in the skies over North Dakota. A pilot told dozens of passengers on a Delta flight that he had to make what he called aggressive maneuvers to avoid colliding with a B-52 bomber, which he says took him by surprise.
The FAA says it is still trying to gather more information about what happened here. We don't know how close these two aircraft came. It was a SkyWest regional jet with about 80 people on board flying for Delta. The captain said it was close enough that he worried that passengers may have seen the other plane, that B-52, coming at them through their windows. How do we know that? After the plane landed safely, the pilot made this announcement. Take a listen.
Sorry about the aggressive maneuver. It caught me by surprise. This is not normal at all. I don't know why they didn't give us a heads up, because the Air Force Base does have radar, and nobody said, hey, there's also a B-52 in the pattern. Long story short, it was not fun, but I do apologize for it, and thank you for understanding.
You could hear passengers applauding the captain at the end of that announcement. SkyWest says it's investigating, but stressed the flight landed safely in Minot after being cleared for approach by the tower, but performing a go-around when another aircraft became visible in their flight path. This comes nearly 6 months after an Army Black Hawk helicopter collided with an American Airlines regional jet near Washington, D.C., killing 67 people. The Air Force says it is now looking into this matter and confirmed a B-52 was operating in the Minot area doing a flyover of the North Dakota State Fair. The local paper put the time of that flyover about the same time as this plane was coming into land, Tony. We expect the FAA to launch a more formal investigation as soon as today.
So they coming up with a new prison that allows inmates to serve years of their sentence in just a matter of minutes. So the criminals is going to have a choice to spend tens of years behind bars, or they can make this choice to get the artificial memory implanted into their brain. So this process is called Cognify. And the intent of it is to treat the criminal like a patient. They're going to try to change the person's brain chemistry. After this process, when they re-enter society, they will be new and reformed, and they won't even be capable of committing any other crime. The chip can make the patient feel empathetic. Depending on the severity of the crime, the chip can also make you feel the emotional and physical pain of the victim and the family members. You can feel what they felt. So the process only takes about 7 minutes. But to the patient, it seemed like it had been years. Last year, the U.S. government spent $8.7 billion taxpayers' dollars on the prison. They say with this new prison, they can save money for health care, education. Also, they feel that it will be so many reformed people that doesn't commit crimes. Y'all leave in the comments and tell me what y'all think about this. Do y'all think this is actually going to work, or do y'all think that they're creating something that they don't even know that they're creating? Y'all leave in the comments and tell me what y'all think. So they come.
And for the last video, that shit was crazy. It was a lot of sodomites in there too. But in the last video, that video that was behind that video wasn't the original video that I seen. All right, the one that the last video, like when the lady was talking over that video, that wasn't the one that I originally seen. All right, it was a video where basically it was like they was like in these. It was like one person per cell. All right, and it was like this. It was like an actual, like, how can I explain it? It's like a cage. All right, for one person. All right, it was, you can't even move or anything like that. You just sitting down. It was like, and then like they had you, I guess, you know, they chip you. You know what I'm saying? They go ahead and implant And then that's when she was talking about that feel like you serve your time in minutes and stuff like that because of, I guess, virtual reality or whatever the fuck going on. You know what I'm saying? So then they can be, like what she was saying, get out. So basically you can get out of jail in like 7 and like 10 minutes compared to people that's in there for 10 years. Like Esau trying to make it cool to go to jail at this damn point, just for you to go get the it, Like I did another video on these GPU type things. I forget what the name is. I had to go back and see, but and it holds all the storage. Trump had ended up buying a whole bunch of them, from China, and they designed to hold, to do a lot of capacity. It's like, I forget how they said it. It was like it's bigger than the largest computer center or something like that within one cube or something like that. And they had like, and he just buying them bitches by like the hundreds of thousands. So he wanted, after when that, like when I was, I can see, when this implementation stuff starts to go down, that them little things or whatever, them little GPU systems or whatever you want to call it, little blocks. It's like big ass blocks, all right, with wires in them and shit, and you can put them like in a cabinet, and that's gonna be where they store all the memory at. Like you ever watch the movies where people gotta get some hidden information, and they gotta go to like like go to the building. They go to like this governmental type building. In certain movies they do it. The one movie I had watched, or I had seen a little bit of it, and was a couple of them shit. They even got them in the latest movie, the Megan 2.0 movie or whatever. But it's like they go down, you go down in the basement or whatever, and they got this little lab place, and you see like it's just rows of like things that's like stacked on top of each other. That's all the information that it holds, and like you can probably access somebody's file by going into the right aisle and pulling from the right chamber. And there you go. You will have everybody information and stuff. They're cooking. Esau is cooking right now. All right. And he ain't got a Revelation 12 and 12, But I just wanted to say that on this video right here though, as you can see, man dies after chain gets stuck. So
This is like something out of a Final Destination movie, but it happened in real life. It all went down this past Wednesday afternoon at 4:30 when 911 gets a call for an emergency at NASA Open MRI in Westbury, New York. 61-year-old Keith McAllister had brought his wife Adrian in for an MRI of her knee. Here's where the story starts to differ. Adrian says the technician brought Keith into the room so that he could help her get out of the machine. The employees say Adrian started to shout out for help, which caused Keith to come running into the room. Employees say they were telling him not to open the door because the machine was in use, but he entered regardless. Either way, when Keith McAllister opened the door, the MRI machine started reacting to the 20-pound chain around his neck. The machine started pulling Keith into the machine, choking him. The chain had a large lock on the end, so they weren't able to get it off. And the technician and Adrian tried pulling him away from the machine, but they were unable. Adrian says her husband waved goodbye, and his body went limp in her arms. Keith was then transferred to a local hospital, but died the next day after succumbing to his injuries.
I ain't never in my life heard of a sunburn competition. And then it's the 99th annual. That mean they've been doing this shit for 99 years. White folks been in the sun turning red purposely. This all evidence that white folks been looking and trying to find aliens. They the goddamn aliens. I mean, they done looked all at the bottom of the ocean for goddamn aliens. It's y'all. Y'all the goddamn aliens. Look at that shit. That nigga look like a brine wiener. He look like a big swole up brine wiener. You know the red wieners, them brines? That's what the fuck he look like. White people had to come from out the inside of the goddamn earth. Cause this here is some wild ass shit. You motherfuckers sat in the sun and let your blood coagulate. That's called coagulation. Look at the coagulation on this nigga's body.
I just had to show that. Esau Edom.
And Putin, your turn is coming. Donald Trump is the Scotty Scheffler of American politics and foreign diplomacy, and he's about to put a whooping on your ass.
Coming out today in the past couple of hours, I'm going to share with you what's going on here, and that is that the United States, we're hearing today, July 21st, 2025, take a look, sends Patriot missiles, and NATO vows a urgent response. This is happening right now. The U.S., Germany together are sending over these missiles. Take a look. Germany and the U.S. agreed to deliver 5 Patriot air defense systems to Ukraine as soon as possible, coming out today, July 21st, 2025. Russia says that now NATO is threatening World War III to start in the latest deterrence plans that could take down the Kaliningrad faster than ever before. And Russia issues a nuclear warning after Trump's weapons for Ukraine plan, which is being implemented as of today. And Russia threatens the West, the United States, with preemptive strikes as NATO looks to deliver Patriots as quickly as possible. That coming out a couple of days ago, July 17th, you can see. And as of today, July 21st, 2025, we are hearing that this is unfolding right now. So let me know your thoughts. What is going to be unfolding here? The pressure is being applied to Russia. Are we going to see them fold? Are we going to see peace? Or are we going to see war? Drop your thoughts in the comments, war or peace. Let me know what do you think is going to be happening next. But we're hearing that Donald Trump had put that ultimatum on Russia saying you have 50 days to come to a ceasefire agreement with Ukraine. And if you do not, we're going to be sending over weapons to NATO to give to Ukraine to use against you. You will be hit with U.S. missiles along with secondary tariffs of 100%, to which within 48 hours, Russian President Vladimir Putin said, you are provoking a preemptive strike, nuclear attacks, potentially World War III. And now we're hearing
Iran just got the Chinese HQ-9B air defense system, and this is just not some minor upgrade. These are advanced surface-to-air missiles comparable with the Russia's S-400s. Iran already have the S-300s from Russia. Well, this is the next level up. And on paper, these Chinese systems can hit targets up to 250 kilometers away and target stealth aircrafts. Yes, including the F-35s that Israel uses. Now here where it gets interesting. Iran didn't even pay in cash. They did it through a barter deal. Oil for weapons. No dollar, no SWIFT system. Just here's our oil, now give us missiles. This alone is a geopolitical flex. What makes this deal even more important is that China used to avoid these types of trades. Chinese officials used to say barter is bad for business. They preferred cash, dollars. But now they're shifting fast. Israel's strikes on Iran exposed some gaps in the air defense, even though Iran wasn't caught off guard, as I said before. They clearly realized, okay, for round 2, we need to level up. And let's be clear, Iran won round 1. And if that bothers you, just check who attacked first. Israel launched a full-scale offensive in a hope to drag US into the fight and then crash Iran as their long-term enemy. And what happened? They failed. Hard. Like face plant in the middle of Tel Aviv hard. So now China steps in. And why? Not just to help out a friend. It's strategic. First, Iran sits in the middle of the new China Silk Road, the Belt and Road Initiative. If Iran's regime collapses, the whole overland route to Europe collapses with it. So propping up Iran, that's a long-term investment. Second, and this is big, after Iran and Israel's conflict, China saw how hesitant US was to step in. So if China arms Iran, it's less likely for Israel to go for another round. It also makes US less likely to get dragged in if things escalate again. Third, if Iran feels desperate and abandoned, they most likely go for economic nuclear bottom, which is shutting down the Strait of Hormuz that can mess up the whole world's economy, including China's. And no, sea mines don't check flags, they just hit anybody. So China is, let's not let it get there. And finally, this lets China battle test their own defense tech, maybe get some feedback, tweak a few things before another US future confrontation.
So you see things is, hey, it's heating up, man. You know, things is really heating up. It's a nice looking chick too.
The situation here is absolutely dire, and my team said to me today, the situation in Gaza has never been this bad. They are desperately hungry. Children are crying all the time for food, and my team, who are employed, they have money in their bank accounts, they're unable to find food in Gaza to buy. So the situation is absolutely terrible, and people are making impossible choices to risk their lives to try and find food. Fuel is a massive issue because, of course, our humanitarian interventions, our life-saving essential services are reliant on fuel. We need generators to run our clinics. We need generators to pump water, to be able to provide clean water to populations who have no other options to find water. So fuel is a massive challenge. But, you know, we're in Deir al-Balah, and today there was evacuation notices across Deir al-Balah affecting between 50 and 80,000 people are now being forcibly displaced from Deir al-Balah into Al-Mawasi in Khan Yunis. And some of my team are living in these areas, and they literally have nowhere to go. There is nowhere for people to go. There is nowhere safe in Gaza for people to move to. So the situation for my team and other humanitarian workers here is absolutely desperate. Upwards of 800 people have been killed trying to receive aid, or food rather, at the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation. Of the thousands of people who have received supplies from there, that will obviously have had a big impact on them for that day, for that week, for that family. But there's 2 million people in Gaza on the brink of famine. We need safe and dignified distributions, and we need the humanitarian community to be allowed to do our jobs. We know how to deliver food and services to children and their families across Gaza. We just need to be allowed to do.
Today, we got the news that the Congressional Budget Office, the CBO, confirms Donald Trump's big, ugly betrayal is going to kick at least 10 million Americans off their health insurance and spike our national debt by another $3.4 trillion. In truth, the number of people who will lose health insurance could be much higher, as many as 16 million when you account for the cuts to ACA and other forms of insurance. This finalized independent analysis from the CBO confirms it. Republicans' signature bill is the ultimate betrayal of the American people. It betrays every single family who will lose health insurance. It betrays our financial future. It betrays our children and grandchildren who will pay for these billionaire tax breaks as the debt rises and rises. It betrays every family worried about paying for groceries, the mortgage, the rent, prescription drugs. All are going up because of Donald Trump and his administration. Every price of these is going up. And it betrays every rural community from benefits of good-paying energy jobs. Republicans' supposed signature bill betrays everyone outside of the billionaire class and the special interests. Now Republicans are going to spin the mother of all propaganda jobs to sell this ugly bill to the American people. But today's report reminds us of something. Facts are stubborn, and the facts are clear. The big ugly betrayal is a loser for the country and be a loser for the Republicans.
I'm not glossing over anything.
May I speak without being interrupted?
Yes, and you have for a while.
So what you've just done is start off just like every other racist media publication. This is supposed to be an accredited media source. You're interrupting me again. Can I speak?
Please.
May I speak?
May I speak? Yes, you can.
Okay. As
you are.
This is supposed to be an accredited media source, right?
It is.
Okay, so have you seen how you guys report on the protests? Have you seen it? Where you type in, everyone at home, type in GB News Palestine. Tell me if it's not the most sensationalistic coverage of the protests that you've ever seen in your life. The only things these guys are doing is trying to get clicks and they're trying to fool you and hoodwink you into thinking that we're animals and that we're racist and we support terrorist organizations.
Look, the only person who wants clicks is you because you do, as you said.
Yeah, I do want clicks. Do you know why? Do you know why? Because there is unfair representation by the British media. Check out GB News Palestine. It's racism at its core.
Bro,
this is so unfair.
Themselves.
This is so unfair. It is unfair because what you're doing.
It's not unfair.
What you're doing.
But I want to thank you for coming in.
Of course you do. All right, have a nice day, guys. Thank you for letting me come in. I don't get to answer a bloody question. She gets to lambast me with bullshit and paint me as a terrorist. This is absolutely ridiculous. Where's the free media? Is this media?
You're doing a
I take the mic off. Have a nice day. Have a nice day.
You're doing a wonderful job.
I'm acting. People are dying, and I'm acting apparently. Thank you, Esther. Thank you for having me on the show. Barely answering any of my questions. Take this mic off me, bro. This is racism 101. Have a nice day, Esther.
You've done. Thank you for.
See, the gig is up, man. Esau Edom, the so-called white man, self-proclaimed white man. It's over for you, you know. And he trying to go out swinging, but you know, you colonized a lot of nations. You always got your hand in somebody else's nose and somebody else's ass, somebody else's country and stuff, you know, and then you destroy it. That's why I said, whatever this motherfucker's like the death adder, whatever this nigga touches, it turns and just rots away, you know. Yeah, man. Yeah.
On the show, it's a pit.
There are signs tonight that Israel is preparing to expand ground operations into an area of central Gaza that's been a relatively safe refuge for displaced Palestinians and humanitarian aid groups. The Israeli military issued evacuation orders for an area around Deir al-Bala, where forces have largely refrained from operating for fear of endangering hostages still held by Hamas. The orders came as at least 85 more Palestinians were said to have died while trying to get to food aid distribution sites. The largest toll was in northern Gaza, where people were approaching UN aid trucks entering from Israel at the Zikim crossing.
We were just going to get food to bring for our children. We were not going to beg or fight. We just wanted to eat.
Many Palestinians say they have to choose between risking being killed trying to get food or going without. The UN has said that in recent weeks, nearly 900 people had died trying to get aid, mostly near sites run by the private U.S. and Israeli-backed Gaza Humanitarian Foundation. Sudarshan Raghavan is the Wall Street Journal's senior Middle East correspondent. Sudarshan, we just heard a Palestinian in that introduction talk about what he faced as he tried to get food aid. I know that you've done some reporting and you have other stories of other personal stories. What can you tell us?
It's really a Sophie's choice for most Gazans. It's a daily stark choice between starvation and then risking death to go through combat zones in order to go to a handful of food distribution points in Gaza. We spoke with several individuals who faced this choice, and it was extremely sad. We spoke to one woman who had originally was getting food aid from one of the soup kitchens that are still open, and one day she goes there and she carries her bucket to get the soup, and the soup fell on her body, scalding her arms. When she went back, her son told her, never to go again to the soup kitchen. The very next day, he goes to one of these food distribution centers run by the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, and he was shot dead while he was approaching the site. There are countless stories like this, John, happening daily today.
Why is it so perilous to get to these food distribution sites?
Well, since May, about 400 aid points have basically been erased and replaced by 4 points, even most of them in southern Gaza and one in the middle. These are being run by the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, and it has led to thousands and thousands of Gazans, mostly young men, approaching these sites on a nearly daily basis, and there's a whole crush of people, and they have to go often through combat zones, also no-go zones. So there's one site in central Gaza, people have to cross the Netzarim corridor, which is an Israeli militarized site, which is usually a no-go zone for Palestinians. So when they get to these areas, there's a whole crush of people, thousands, and that has led to many people getting killed. The Israeli forces say that they fire warning shots, and they are worried about suspicious people approaching them, and hence they fire these shots. The Palestinians say that those shots are coming incredibly close to them. People have described to us crawling on the ground to get to these sites as bullets are whizzing over their heads. So that's really is the issue here, is that there's just too many people coming into these sites, and it's led to utter chaos.
Why the change? Why go from the hundreds of sites you were talking about down to 4?
Well, the Israelis and the Americans have long blamed Hamas, the militant group that runs Gaza, as benefiting from these food distribution systems. They accuse Hamas of stealing the aid and hence prolonging the conflict, the war. Hamas, of course, denies this, but that's the single main reason why there was this decision made, the ostensible reason for why it was made to cut down these sites. Now, humanitarian agencies have also accused Israel and the United States of basically creating smaller areas to push the Gazan population towards the south, forcing them to go get food, mostly in the southern areas, which will at some point shrink their area of living, and that's what humanitarians accuse the Israelis of seeking to do, making it so intolerable for Gazans that, as some Israelis hope, that they will leave Gaza on their own.
In addition to just that crush of humanity you were describing, the Israeli military also says there are armed gangs that are sometimes responsible for these deaths. Is there any? What do you make of that?
Look, there are many different actors who are coming to these food distribution sites. There are also certainly armed thieves, because these food packages that are being handed out are often valuable and resold in the markets. So there are definitely armed gangs that the ordinary Gazans have to wade through in order to get these food packages. There's been gangs who've done some shootings as well. So yeah, it's a situation.
Man, them niggas starving to death.
I have never seen anything like what I've seen here in Gaza. I have seen so much malnutrition here. I've seen it in the pregnancies that we see. I've seen it in the babies that come out. I've seen it walking through the emergency room with the kids and the men and women. So I see it everywhere. I see it in the staff who every day talk about how hungry they are. Malnutrition and stress can lead to pregnancy complications. The stress of living under siege, the stress of malnutrition, the stress of the bombings, the stress of all the trauma that's going around affects a pregnancy. I have never seen anything like what I've seen here in Gaza. I have seen so much malnutrition here. I've seen it in the pregnancies that we see. I've seen it in the babies that come out. I've seen it walking through the emergency room with the kids and the men and women. So I see it everywhere. I see it in the staff who every day talk about how hungry they are. Malnutrition and stress can lead to pregnancy complications. The stress of living under siege, the stress of malnutrition, the stress of the bombings, the stress of all the trauma that's going around affects a pregnancy. I have never seen anything like what I've seen here in Gaza. I have seen so much malnutrition here. I've seen it in the pregnancies that we see. I've seen it in the babies that come out. I've seen it walking through the emergency room with the...
Trump has boxed himself into a corner where the only alternative we have for taking out is to do this horrible attack, which will probably succeed, but will taint us. And it destroys the global economy. It destroys everything. It destroys the reputation of the United States. It disrupts everything we're trying to achieve. Trump doesn't want this. That's the other important factor. Trump has boxed himself into a corner, just like the Iranians did. And so you have these two parties now that have embraced policies, positions that are unsustainable. Iran cannot continue to be a threshold state. And the United States cannot attack Iran with nuclear weapons. But if Iran continues to pursue that, then we'll do that and both of us lose. And that's why, despite all the stupidity of the rhetoric surrounding these negotiations, especially on the Iranian side, we will never negotiate. America sucks. You're death to America. Oh, no, you're going to negotiate. Yeah, no choice. Trump has boxed himself into a corner where the only alternative we have for taking out is to do this horrible attack, which Trump has boxed himself into a corner where the...
My boyfriend's like, I can't believe this stuff keeps happening to you. I'm like, can't you? Spend a day as me. Spend a day when you come out of TV studios with all your makeup on, with blonde hair, and walk about London, and you fucking see what it's like. It has degraded so much, so dramatically. I just feel like a good day is a day that I don't get leered on, don't get stared at, don't get followed, don't get harassed, don't get groped, and don't get mugged. A good day is when I actually just walk around and nothing bad happens. And even if that happens most days of the week...
Esau Edom is uncomfortable, man. I love to see it.
You're left with the fear every single day that it's going to happen. And I'm like, fuck this. Do you know how much money I give to this government? You know how much taxes I pay? Like, why am I living in a country where I hate being here? I hate it. Yeah. I hate London. I despise it. I'm not safe. I'm not protected. I'm the one who's constantly out there in the world. Oh, you're a monster, you're a Nazi, you're a racist, you're a xenophobe. Be kind. Fuck off, be kind. Fuck off. I didn't live 41 years of my life working hard, dragging myself up from a working class family to get where I am, to pay this tax. And my thanks is to be name called, have my car bashed in, groped, mugged, outpriced from the housing market. Fuck off. That's how I feel. That's how a lot of people out there are feeling, which is why people are leaving. And 5 years, even 2 years ago, it wasn't this bad. When I turned around 2 years ago, 1 year ago, and said about, foreign men following me down the street, and there was outrage about it. Outrage. Oh, isn't she terrible? Isn't she a monster? Look at, how do you know they're foreign men? What sort of a racist are you? Now you've actually got the Casey report going, guess who's behind most of the grooming gangs and sex attacks? Foreign men. Well, you wouldn't have thunk it, would you?
I think we're quite close to digital superintelligence. It may happen this year. Digital superintelligence defined as smarter than any human at anything. And I'm somewhat troubled by the Fermi paradox. Like, why have we not seen any aliens? 6 to 12 months, we'll be doing our first implants for vision, where even if somebody's completely blind, we can write directly to the visual cortex. And we've had that working in monkeys. One of our monkeys now has had the visual implant for 3 years. At first, it'll be relatively fairly low resolution, but long term, you would have very high resolution and be able to see in multispectral wavelengths. So you could see an infrared, ultraviolet, radar, like a superpower situation. At some point, the cybernetic implants would not simply be correcting things that went wrong, but augmenting human capabilities dramatically. But digital superintelligence will happen well before that.
All of this is pretty wild sci-fi stuff that also could be built by the people in this room.
Maybe AI can maybe tell us, where are the aliens? You know, how did the universe really start? How will it end? What are the questions that we don't know?
See, you ain't got the answers, Sway. You ain't got the answers. You know, I had to put on my Kanye, man. You ain't got the answers. All right, they don't have the answers. They're going under the ground, over the earth, through ice, literally ice. They going to Antarctica, everywhere. They going everywhere. They trying to get the prophecies correct. They can't get them right. You can't get them, Esau. It's over with. It's like game over, man.
That we should ask, and are we in a simulation? Or what level of simulation are we in? And I'm somewhat troubled by the Fermi paradox. Like, why have we not seen any aliens? And it could be because intelligence is incredibly rare, and maybe we're the only ones in this galaxy, in which case the intelligence of consciousness is this like tiny candle in a vast darkness, and we should do everything possible to ensure the tiny candle does not go out. And being a multi-planet species, or making consciousness multi-planetary, greatly improves the probable lifespan of civilization, and it's the next step before going to other star systems. Once you at least have 2 planets, then you've got a forcing function for the improvement of space travel, and that ultimately is what will lead to consciousness expanding to the stars. I think we're quite close to digital superintelligence. It may happen this year. Digital superintelligence defined as smarter than any human at anything. And I'm somewhat troubled by the Fermi paradox. Like, why have we not seen any aliens? 6 to 12 months, we'll be doing our first implants for vision, where even if some...
And that's it, man. So with that, till next time, Shalom.